I was kind of curious. I was trying to think of where to start. I suppose getting to know each of you would be the logical kickoff point. Jim, seeing as you're Billy No Mitts there, we'll start with you on your own, make you feel like you belong.
Yeah, that's it.
Have you always trained at 80/20, or were you in other places and now wound up there? Or?
I've been in other places, so started at CrossFit Castrum in the middle of Belfast.
Okay.
Was there for a lot of years, and then Lewis was the first day I walked into CrossFit, he was the guy coaching the class, and that's how we got to know each other. So yeah, the guy that was doing my programming, basically his job took him out of it. So Lewis said to me, look, why don't you come down and do 80/20's program? So that's maybe 2 and a bit years ago. So yeah, I've just been up and down the 80/20 then, and then go to CrossFit Avenge as well.
Okay, yeah.
It's just a bit handier to me at home, but yeah.
And do you have a job then that you're fit and training around and stuff?
Yeah. I'm a physio, so
okay.
yeah.
It's pretty useful member to have on a team, in fairness.
Well,
you're actually fairly well kitted out. Like, you've got a doctor, you're fairly sorted. Like, pretty much all you need is like a lawyer or something, and then you've got all your little things ticked off.
Lewis is a lawyer.
And what are you? Yeah, it really depends on your definition of lawyer. What are your hours like then? Are you like, can you kind of pick and choose? Is it your own clients, or are you working off? Okay, yeah.
I work for a company, so yeah, it's just sort of 8 to 4, day in, day out.
Yeah, at least it's consistent, I suppose. You're not like chasing down teams or anything like that. And okay, and then Kerri, you're a doctor, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
What kind of doctoring do you do?
I'm working in A&E at the minute in the Royal in Belfast. So
wow, okay.
Yeah.
What are the hours like for that?
Not the best thing for training, to be honest. They're just quite haphazard. I'm on nights this week, so that's sort of Monday to Thursday nights. At the weekend, I was just on normal days, which is 8 to 5. The week before that was maybe like 4 to midnight shifts.
And what's it like? Is it hard for you to get time off then, say when quarters is on and when semis is on and stuff? Is that tricky, or is it kind of okay?
It is hard. People are quite good at swapping. You know, if I'm working the weekend, I can get it maybe swapped off. I think if we got the Amsterdam semi, yeah, like I don't think I would have been there, to be honest. Because I was on weekend nights, and
who's going to do that?
You're just not going to get them swapped because you need a day off before and after. Because
that's probably it's too far away from Christmas to be like, I'll do Christmas if you want to do.
Exactly. I don't know what I would have had to offer. I don't know. Yeah.
How long have you been a doctor?
2 years. So started last May. Yeah. So.
And were you into CrossFit when you were in college then and stuff?
Not really, actually. No, I just played a wee bit of hockey through uni. And then sort of around final year uni, whenever I moved back home near 80/20, it was actually, Lewis had said to me for ages, like you love CrossFit, you should do it. And I was just so scared and intimidated to actually join it. So eventually.
What were you scared of?
I just didn't really know much about it. I actually started off in Reebok CrossFit Northern Ireland. I was there for about 3 months, just while I finished off that year of uni. And then when I came home for summer, I came into 80/20. But probably for the first 2 years, I was just, very intimidated and just kept myself to myself. Wouldn't have ever thought of competing or anything.
Yeah. Did something happen? Like, did you just happen to enter a competition and be like, oh fuck, I'm actually pretty good at this? Or like, how did that change?
So how did it change? I always did do the open, actually. From whenever I joined CrossFit, I always did the open, but it was more just, for myself to see what I could do. And then I used to get programming from Jake Baxter, who then he moved to another gym, and then Neil took me on just as sort of by default. He was taking clients. And then he just started, programming stuff. I really enjoyed it, and sort of was doing a bit better in the Open each year, and it kind of just happened. I never really consciously made the decision.
And was there much of an adjustment then when because obviously there's a difference between, I suppose, like when you're in college, you're probably doing like placement and that kind of stuff anyway, so it's probably hectic enough, but like did you ever go off it? And the way, like, a lot of time when people go through changes, they kind of abandon, say, hobbies are the first thing to go because, like, I don't have time, and then maybe they come back to it. Did you manage to keep it going all the time?
Yeah, I never really abandoned it. I do have time. I do have like breakdown moments whenever, and they're usually during night shift, where I have a small hiatus of low motivation, tiredness. So I definitely have moments like that. I've got better at kind of accepting it now, and whenever I used to kind of try and push myself and get injured, and I have actually learned now that it's actually okay if I just need to take it down for a bit. And Neil was very good at sort of understanding the stresses outside of life and sort of making program and work around that. So the little hiatuses are ongoing, but I'm just getting trying to get better at managing them mentally.
Yeah. Emma, are you a coach full time?
Yeah. So and then PT as well.
Yeah, you have your own kind of PT company, I guess. I never know how to say that. I don't know. Is it a company when it's a person? I guess
that's fine. Yeah,
you got a company.
You have your own. You have your own PT empire, and so you. I suppose you're in maybe I guess an easier position than the two we've talked so far, where you can kind of pedal back or ramp up business for yourself depending on how the season's progressing and stuff.
Yeah, I basically live there, so I can pick and choose when I train and work.
And do you coach in 8220?
Yeah, I coach there too, so I can kind of manipulate when I work and when I play.
Okay, and how did you get into CrossFit?
Well, I worked in a gym before, a different, just normal gym, and then I transferred over and then coached there for, well, I've actually been there 4 years now. So, and then went competitive probably just really from last year onwards. So kind of just, as Kerri said, there was no real change. It just kind of filtered into it.
Yeah. And you have a level 2, do you?
Pardon?
You have a level 2?
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you think you'll go beyond that? Like, is it because obviously it gets substantially more difficult now going beyond level 2, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's natural progression, isn't it? You don't want to just stick where you are. You always want more. So yeah, probably will.
Yeah, that's cool. So Lewis didn't get you into CrossFit, no?
No, we all actually trained athletics when we were younger.
Yeah, actually.
Together, like.
Yeah, I was sprint. Well, we're all sprinters actually.
Lewis's mum was our coach.
Oh, cool.
The local athletics club. She had us running rings around each other on the 400 track.
That's cool, because I was going to ask how did Lewis get on the team, but now I know, so that's fine.
We have a good story how Lewis got on the team.
Well, let them tell the story and then I'd correct it because it's obviously going to be bullshit.
Yeah. You'll always have the last word,
Yeah, obviously.
But come on, I need someone to tell me the story.
Yeah, I let them do it.
So how?
Kind of default. Yeah, I just kind of just chanced my arm.
We did the quarterfinals. Jim, Emma, PD, and I.
Yeah.
Qualified them for semis, but
this is last year, isn't it?
Yeah. PD was going individual then, obviously. So we sort of had to have a look around the gym and think, right.
Have you seen that trailer for Thor, where he's like, look the people you love. What do you call him? Star-Lord's like, look the people you love in the eye, and Thor just kind of moves into his field of vision. That's what I'm imagining. You're like looking around the gym, and Lewis is just like constantly leaning into it.
100%.
I think actually Lewis would have done quarterfinals with us, but he had other plans that weekend.
Yeah. We got sacked.
Yeah, he was hopping.
No, Peter, I got back spasm and couldn't train, and PD done it, and so PD qualified the team, done all the hard work, and I just stepped in and got the rest of the glory.
Yeah. Neil had a big job for 8 weeks to get Lewis from never having really been on a program or anything, to then, you know, at the level ready to compete on the online semi-final.
And let it be known, like, you know, I think PD qualified the team in 7th, and then in semi came 6th with me instead of PD. So, you know, if we're going by stats,
Yeah.
PD's kind of doing all right for himself, though, Lewis, isn't he?
oh, he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's doing okay. It's kind of like it's kind of like, you know, when you hear about that guy who like quit Boyzone and then now he's in the new Batman movie, like kind of doing all right for himself. Like, you know, it's like people do okay.
He's
So
like the daddy figure for like all of us. Well, like
He loves training us.
yeah.
Well, I've talked to him, and so he's on one of the episodes and we were talking about the kind of environment. We'll get on to that in a minute because I do have some questions about that, but I can't leave Lewis out. That'd be a bit lousy after going through everyone's history and then just skipping across them. So you've a new job now. You're with Virus.
Yes, man. I got a job at Virus last October.
And is that because I know with Ollie, it was like, I suppose anyone with any business that they're running on their own, and like it's stressful and it's time consuming, and then you're always trying to, I suppose, like make ends meet and make stuff work, and you know, make things happen in time and stuff. And you're traveling to different competitions, and you know, going to loads of different stuff. And then I think before you stopped working with Ollie, I don't think I'd ever seen you like compete or like, you know, like do an event. And then I remember like Powerful last year, you did that. Then you did the, oh my God, what was the name of that competition I was supposed to MC, but they didn't have a mic?
Oh, Primal,
yeah, you did that with all the lads down there. Like, was that a game changer when it was like, oh, I don't have to do all that stuff anymore?
Yeah, it was a game changer. It takes a lot of bandwidth from you whenever, like, because when you're running your own gig, it's just endless. Like the kind of fight never stops in a sense. Whereas now, you know, with Virus, like there's a team around me and there's people that can do the things that I maybe had to do, and maybe the grunt work as well. Like I'm in much more of a managerial role now where it's not as hands on. So like I have the best situation out of the four of us. Like they work very hard, and I'm just a bit of a bluffer, really. I mean, don't tell my boss that, but yeah, like they're the superstars in my opinion.
And like, is it kind of a thing of just stars aligning then, where you had more freedom, you had more time to train, you had more like headspace to be like, oh, I can actually focus on what I'm eating and how I'm training and stuff. And then there was a gap on the team and it just all lined up perfectly. Is that how it worked, or was this something that you had in your head of like, if I keep going at this, I might get an opportunity to do something?
I think it was it was the cumulative factors, really. Like I knew my time at Ollie was coming to an end. I knew I'd gotten everything I needed from that chapter, and I wanted to start a new one. And then with doing the team competition last year, like I enjoyed it so much. Like it was the first time, like Kerri said, that I'd done any kind of like specific individualized programming, and I really enjoyed it. And you know, Neil's a good coach, and it was interesting to see just in the space of 2 months what we could do. And I was like, imagine we give it a rattle for a year. So I think it definitely helped with making the decision, and made kind of the vision for giving it a go a lot clearer.
I'm curious of the dynamics of training, because obviously we've spoken there about the different jobs, and for Jim, like the first half of the day is out. For Kerri, depends, like could be the night, the evening, the night, could be the morning, whatever. Could have a you know, not a hangover, but like you could need to be catching up on sleep or whatever. Then, you know, Emma, you could have coaching, you could have classes to coach in the morning or the evening, or clients or whatever. And then like Lewis, you might be in London or you might be here, whatever. So there's obviously a lot of different. It's different when it's one person on their own. You can be like, I'll train at 8 o'clock on Saturday. Whereas when it's the team dynamic, you're open. Even just scheduling this call, like, you know, it's not easy when there's 4 separate people, or when you're going through Lewis, with the.
These two are just ridiculously hard to align. Okay, like I'm free all the time. Yet I'll chat. Hard one.
When you're organizing your training, then I was curious. Like, say if you look at it from as a percentage. Jim, like what percentage of your training would you say do you just do on your own whenever you can, and then what percentage is the four of you have to be together?
I would say we're probably getting more toward like a 60-40, 60 being team, 40 being individual. I think, you know, like with the CrossFit rule book, basically it was like you need to be there, you know, for the majority of your training time.
Yeah.
So I've been up and down the road like a yo-yo. It's good though, because like the sort of going on to the training environment, like the Saturday and Sunday sessions at 80-20 are immense. You know, you're chasing a PD or a Sam Stewart or somebody about. So those are like the sort of standard ones, and then I'll try and get down once outside of that during the week or Friday or whatever. Just depends whenever everybody's free, really, you know. So,
and is it Emma will say, you know, like you have an individual who's training and they're worried about, they might pretend they're not, but most of them seem to be, when you dig a little deeper, worried about like, oh, I wonder, is this person doing, like, are they having a snack at this time? Or like, am I falling behind because of what I'm doing now? Or am I falling behind because of what I'm not doing now? Is that like amplified, do you think? Or is it made easier when you're on a team because you have that accountability where it's like, well, I can't let them down, as opposed to just being afraid of what someone else is doing?
Yeah, it's all for the same. Like, it pushes you harder in so many different ways. So you kind of go, oh shit, I need to actually put the work in now, because then I'll get to this event and then don't hold. So at the minute, I'm actually on a bulk away for the last time. I don't know, but you know, I keep thinking, right, I just need to keep doing this for the team. You know,
Yeah.
You just do it. But yeah, no, training wise, like Lewis and I would probably train mostly together. We do like morning sessions and then like afternoon, and that's really good. And then Kerri and Jim jump in, obviously, when they can. So it's still kind of good that we still get some sort of group dynamic as much as we can.
Yeah. Kerri, then how with the training now, obviously you're coming closer towards like quarterfinals is kind of the Open, you're just on your own, like, you know, you just do whatever. The quarterfinals, then there's like, I suppose, team aspects to it, but it's still not like 100% what you'd see in an in-person competition or whatever. So now that you're heading towards strength and depth and that, are you trying to mimic those scenarios more and more as you come up to it? Like, are you trying to, you know, I see some people in their training, say, doing like a clean ladder, but like they'll start at a wall and run towards the bar to do it. Like, they're trying to mimic that. Are you trying to do that as a team now?
Yeah, we are definitely trying to do that. Like you said before, it's hard in terms of, you know, trying to bring four people together. You know, Emma and Lewis would probably get a good bit of training together during the week, even, or most of their sessions, probably. I think now what we're sort of going towards is sort of trying to set like a Friday, Saturday night slot. And that's sort of on me, unfortunately, just because I work at the weekends. So unfortunately, these ones are sort of having to commit to weekend nights now for our team sessions. But I mean, we're gonna make it happen. You know, we're doing what we need to do, and that's just how it's gonna look for us.
Yeah, I suppose it's mimicking what's going to come up in semi-finals, because it is going to be a weekend, and there's probably going to be an evening event or two anyway. So in reality, you're really doing the team a favor. Like, that's the truth of it. You're forcing the real life scenario. I wanted to ask about Neil as a coach, and I was kind of holding this question off for Lewis because so one of the best things I've seen in the last like 5 months anyway was the video of your, was it the second
number 2
qualifier or workout, and so I didn't know any of the backstory to this. I actually got some of the backstory off PD, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe it's not as funny as I thought it was. Like, in the video, you like just make a mistake, like you make a timing mistake, you go when you're not supposed to go or whatever. He fucking lost it, like really, really flipped out. And I was like, fuck, like there's obviously, that is a fucking intense training environment. Like that, whoa, like that was a hair trigger, and that was ready to go. And then I talked to PD, and PD was like, yeah, that wasn't the first time though that had happened. And he was like, he was understandably pissed off, and he was under a bit of time pressure with class and stuff. Neil as a coach, Lewis, like, he has a big reputation in the sport, like here and abroad. Like, people know who he is, and people know, like, he's, you know, Mickey went to the games with him, like PD like should have gotten his chance to go to the games with him, like, you know, hopefully will this year. He has a long list of people that he's worked with and people that he's helped, and like even just the basically empire that he's built up there is fairly remarkable. What's it like, is it as intense as it appears? Obviously that video is like not what I'm basing this off, but like, is it an intense environment? Is it like, you know, is there just kind of moments of intensity and then it's kind of cordial enough around that, or how does he operate, say, day to day?
No, I think he sets a really good standard up there. I think, like, you know, that video, like, people can perceive in a lot of different ways, but at the end of the day, he just cares a lot. Like,
Yeah,
it's important to him that he sees his athletes do well, but also, like, he's not going to work with people that don't give a fuck. And, like, you know, it shows in that video just how much he cares, and like that makes us care just as much, in a sense. Like, the standard, like, he sets the bar in terms of what he thinks you're able to do, and he does push you every day. Like, it's tough training, but it's good because you trust what he's putting out. Like, you know, like you've just, you know, said, like, his track record's incredible in terms of the stuff he's done with the athletes and stuff. And so, like, it's easy to trust in it, and like that's kind of what winning looks like, in a sense. Like, that's those ugly environments, those, like, the tension, the, like, that's what kind of performing at that top level looks like, in a sense. Like, he just has a very high standard, and yeah.
What did you do after? So when you saw that reaction, did you like just go and hide in the bathroom for a while, or how did you handle that?
I just owned it. I was just like, I fucked up, my fault. There's no point running from it. Like you can't do it in team. Like, they'd just done a full round, and I was like, for fuck's sake, like. But you can't sit there and like be like, oh, I just it was my fault. I didn't read the workout properly. I wasn't familiarized enough, and so
I think as well, like, that kind of moment of anger, it lasted like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
You know? And then after
Yeah.
that moment of anger, I was probably the one that was still pissed off, because I was like, you know, I've just done a full round and I wanted to get that workout done before the class, so then we could have a big break before the next workout. So, you know, whereas Neil was like, it's fine, like, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
We're gonna have it set up, and like, we'll do this at this point, and then, you know, I've changed my coaching schedule for tonight. We can push workout 3 back later. So, like, you know, it was a 60-second.
Yeah, it's not like that all the time. Like, people think.
No, I think, like, even like Kerri's echoed what PD said, basically, where he was like, he was really pissed off. He stormed off, and 30 seconds later, he was back and had a whole action plan of what was going to happen over the next like 2 days. And like, PD was like, okay, like, that was a real quick turnaround of, like, from seeing red to having it all laid out like the Matrix or whatever. Like, it's pretty impressive.
Like, I was still angry for like half an hour, you know.
I'm still not over it, to be honest.
Well, it made for hugely entertaining viewing anyway. Obviously we've kind of alluded to it a couple of times, and you've got Jamie, you mentioned there that like Sam is up training with PD a good bit, and like PD's going down and stuff, but in 80-20 there seems to be just a stronghold of like really accomplished, even just like, you know, what you'd call, like, I suppose, RX athletes, like maybe not heading for semifinals or whatever, but like a really fucking high standard, even like just 5-day a weekers who are just going in for their hour, seem to just have all the skills and all, like, there just seems to be a high level of coaching, a lot of good coaches, and like a really strong environment or culture or something. Is that noticeable when you're there? Because obviously you guys are relying on each other, I suppose, and you're relying on Neil to push you and to, you know, like, guide you through it and stuff, and you're relying on each other to kind of, that, I suppose, that little bit of extra accountability, or the little bit of like, I'm not just doing it for myself. But like, being in that environment, do you think is it helping you find an extra gear, or helping you find that little bit extra?
Yeah, absolutely. Like what there is, see at like weekends, especially like during the winter where you're like off like training in the cold gym. When you have such a good group, it's so good just pushing you on. And when you know you have, oh, this is a flipping brutal wad, somebody's there to always jump in with you and push on. So it's a great environment.
Sorry, go on.
Last year, see, like the semi-finals, those being at 80-20, the support that we got during that weekend was just unbelievable. Like everybody was there, everybody screaming their head off. Like if you just, it was just class, you know, and yet that sort of level, it's almost like as you say, like your general person is just a beast. So whenever you have, you know, 100 just general beasts standing around you screaming your head off, you definitely get, you know, a kick up the ass from that. So yeah, like I think that was a big factor in. I mean, after last year, whenever we were one place short of going to the games, and it was like we did really well. Well done, guys! And within about 20 minutes, we were like, next year, you know, because you were just on such a high, pushed by everybody.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you were off on Travago booking your holiday. You were like, what?
Yeah. Like, man, these joints aren't getting any younger, like, you know. Yeah.
So last year you had like just an incredible run last year in semi-finals, and obviously there's positives to be taken from competing in that environment that you're talking about, with everyone screaming at you and like being surrounded by literally everyone you know who knows what you're doing is in that room at that moment. And then obviously when you go to like London, there will be people that you know in that room, but there's also be a shit ton of people that you don't know, and like a fuck lot of people just in general. Is that something that's given you an extra drive to be like, we missed out on that moment last year? Like obviously you did have a positive experience with the people, but like it's not the same as being in like, you know, a big arena and surrounded by people and having that like regionals moment or whatever. Is that something that's giving you like an extra push, or as it kind of hurtles closer, are you like, is there any sense of like nervousness or like, oh fuck, like there's gonna be cameras and shit ton of people and everything like that? Literally anyone can take that.
We're all different, I would say. Like I think I don't know.
Yeah, like I'd actually, before I did primal there with Lewis, when was that, before Christmas?
November.
Yeah, November, and that was actually the first competition that I've done that's not been live, like not been an open, not been like a quarterfinal or semi-final on a camera. So even going to that was actually just good practice for me. So it'll be very new to me.
That was the first time you'd competed in person.
Yeah.
What?
I know.
And now you're going to strength and depth. That's so cool.
It was a full-on sales pitch getting her to do it.
Oh yeah, it was.
Strength and depth will be like more or less the same as primal, like a little bit different.
Same, but different.
Yeah. Same, but vastly different. there will be similar equipment. Yeah.
Like barbell, nice.
And are you like, do you talk about stuff like that to each other? Do you talk about it to Neil? Do you confide in each other about that kind of stuff? Like, or do you kind of bottle it up a bit?
Other know, like, so even if it's just the four of us, we're good at saying, right, shut up when I'm doing this, or cheer me on when I'm doing this.
Yeah.
We're quite good at that.
I think in general, because we're actual friends, like we're not just like four people that have come together. Like me, Kerri, and Emma have done athletics since we were like 12, 13 years old. I had no gym 6 years, and he slots in with the three of us like a dream. Like we're actual pals, and it makes it so much easier. And like, you know, we're comfortable enough now after having done a full season together to be direct and to point out maybe like a flaw that will be a lower limit for us whenever we're competing, or like we're accountable enough to each other to, you know, to carry our own shit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. I think you see, going like, I've done strength and depth before on a team, and great experience, really enjoyed it. But this, and whenever any of these sort of competitions, like I would say I'm quite good at staying in my own lane and just, you know, whatever's over there, I'll chase them a wee bit or whatever, but you sort of are happy just doing what you're doing. But in the scenario that we're coming into this time, like any other time I've competed, it's, you know, sort of participation medal in a way. Like, you're not going to be going to the games, you're not going to be pushing that top X and Y, Z. This is different in that, like, we are looking to go this time. So, yeah, it's a different sort of pressure, I think.
Where does that belief come from? Is that purely based off your performance last year when Lewis had a short run in, and now you have a full year behind you? Is that what's driving it?
Yeah, I would say that's where it started. In a way, it's sort of like that probably caught us all a little bit off guard. And then, like, I suppose what the other guys said, like, we've been together and sort of been focused on that one goal. So, like, even this year at the end of the Open, you know, totted up our scores and stuff, and we're coming in, I don't know, like 40th, something like that, overall in Europe. And then you go to quarterfinals where it's actually team stuff. Plus, you know, more technical and less just hurt, more, you know, CrossFit. And we seem to do a whole lot better. So, like, it's almost like, you know, pressure makes diamonds sort of idea. So yeah, well, upward trajectory, you know.
And is it like you say there, that you see the scores and stuff, like, and when you see Lewis, maybe you'll take this one, like when you see the other teams, because like it's obviously easier, or I suppose more difficult for an individual, because you know the name of the person. Like if PD is going to London, he knows who Zach George is and he knows what he's done in the past or whatever. Whereas if you're looking at a team name, you kind of have a choice of like, will I click in and like see who's on it? Will I just look at the gym name and that's enough for me? Will I look at the leaderboard at all? Like how much attention, if any, do you pay to any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, I think we're like we're aware of where we're at, but we don't really care about anyone else. I know that sounds maybe a bit corny, but we really don't. Like, you know, we got some good event finishes in the last quarters, but it was like it never happened. Like as soon as it was over, you know, an hour later we were like, right, what's next? What have we got to do? What have we got to do as individuals in that workout? And that's definitely one thing that Neil drove home hard this year. Like I especially love getting into the hype of it all, and like I love enjoying the moments, but like sometimes it can get carried away. And so like that was definitely something that I needed to tame this year. But it was something Neil said or very early on. He's like, look, doesn't matter if you come first or last, like you're moving on to the next one and that's your one primary focus. So I mean, there's the star names like Reykjavik and all was in the quarterfinals this year, and that was cool because CrossFit made us sing and dance about it. But like, no, like we've beat some of the coolest, best teams in the world. Like, you know, we're like 45th in the world. Like it's such an accomplishment already, but we believe like we can go. We believe in ourselves as a unit and as a team. We can do it, and like it's a realistic belief. It's not like some wanky poetic dream. It's like we all believe as 4 individuals we can do it. So that's why since literally last June we were like, let's do it. Let's make that the goal. And I think just the compound effect of having that at the forefront of our goals for the whole year, it just brings us like confidence for it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Kerri, you qualified as an individual and then headed into the team quarterfinals. How long after you saw or you realized that the team got through, was there any kind of debate at all? Was there any kind of deliberation of which you were going to do?
We deleted her from the group chat at one point.
No, there was no deliberation. You know, like obviously we have set this goal a year ago, but it was very hard to have to like hit decline on that email. You know, it wasn't as if I was ever gonna hit accept, but it was like stinging me to be like, oh, I can't do both. You know, obviously it was never a debate. You know, I was never gonna choose individual after we'd all set this goal a year ago. But I was kind of like, it was a bit of a shock to myself to actually qualify individual, and then I wanted to do both. You know, but
it's like, have you ever seen that? What's it called? Like Secret Life of 4-year-olds. You know, where they have like cameras set on a play school and they give the kids like a marshmallow each, and they're like, don't eat the marshmallow, and when I come back, you'll get 2 marshmallows.
Yes.
It's like they know that eating the marshmallow. So like you're sitting looking at decline, and you're like, oh, but maybe it's like you're waiting. You've already forgotten about the 2 marshmallows. You're just focusing on this one. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, every time I saw the email, it just like hurt a wee bit that I couldn't do both. But
it'll all be worth it. I actually had a bone to picture. You fucking ruined my evening today with your post about not putting oil on the pan. I was like,
did you see that?
Like, it doesn't just burn off, no. I was like, oh, okay. So that like lump of butter that I put in the pan when I'm okay, shit. All right.
No, the butter is okay. Butter is okay.
Why is butter okay? Because
butter is a solid. So at room temperature, as butter sits, you can see that it's a solid in the same way that and other fats like coconut oil would sit. So they have their structure is more stable than, say, a liquid oil like sunflower oil or.
Get comfy here.
You can tell me to stop talking.
Once I know that I can have butter, whatever you say is going to be worth it. Once that's the end result.
Yeah, no, butter is good for cooking with. Oils like sunflower oil and vegetable oils. They sound healthy. They sound healthy, but to actually get oil out of a vegetable or a seed is very difficult. You have to use very high temperatures. You have to use chemicals, and that actually changes the structure of the oil. So, like I said, every cell membrane in your body is made up of predominantly fat. So that fat has to come from somewhere, and it comes from your diet. So if you're eating sort of fats that are dysfunctional, have been changed by a process of heat or chemical, to me that just means that every cell in your body is going to be functioning dysfunctionally. It might be a carcinogen, it might become a leaky cell membrane. So you want to eat things like olive oil, which doesn't require that heat extraction process. If you look at an olive, it's oily, you could squeeze it and get oil. You don't need heat and chemicals and all of those things. Same with coconut oil, same with butter. So
ice cream
are all good. Solid oil. Pardon?
You're just smarter than us.
Pete, this is every Saturday, mate. Every Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, every week.
Once she started talking about cell structure, I was like, oh, wow, okay. Like, this is there's actual science. This isn't just like, I don't like oil. There's actual science behind it.
Oh.
I've been Kerri's friend for a long time, and I've learned 2 solid things, right?
2?
Lots of other things, but two things from a nutrition perspective.
I don't think that's a reflection on the teacher, Kerri.
Yeah, right. I'm stupid, so I'm just like, just tell me. I'm like, well, maybe not like you, Pete. Don't want to insult you, like, but it's just with butter.
You're like Michael Scott, so it's like, explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old. It's like, explain it to me like I'm a 3-year-old.
Cook with butter. Do not salt the eggs before you cook them. That's it. Simple as.
Why would you do that?
If you imagine that, butter can remain in a stable solid at room temperature, on a pan, it can also remain more stable than, for example, liquid oil. You can tell by looking at it.
Do you not get this already?
Sorry, hang on. I need to go into the salt and eggs thing. Is there a reason other than just like taste that you wouldn't?
No, salt is great. We need salt, especially when we're training.
But why after you cook and not before?
Because I was cooking eggs one day, and Kerri goes, "Why are you putting salt in your eggs while they're cooking?"
If you put the salt in too early, it draws the water out of the eggs and makes them very dry.
Oh.
So if you hold off on that salt sprinkle
put it at the end, Pete, is all I'm saying. Cook with butter, salt at the end of your eggs. It's fucking simple, man.
Yeah. That's interesting. That egg thing is really. I eat a lot of eggs. Like I eat scrambled eggs a lot, and I'm like, I always put the salt on, like not like as they're cut. Not like I don't like crack an egg and put in salt straight away, but like
it'll change your life. Like it changes.
Have you ever watched? This is derailing so much. Have you ever watched? Who was it? What's your man's name with the lisp? The English guy. Oh, the school dinners. Jamie Oliver. He made scrambled eggs before. And I can't remember what he did, but like I've tried to replicate it. Like thousands of times, and I just don't understand. He like puts the egg and he's like just like stirs it a little bit, and then he just leaves it, and then he like just pushes it all to one side of the pan, and then pushes it all to the other side of the pan, and it just comes out really nice. When I do it, I just get an omelette. Like I don't get how he does it. Yeah, maybe it's the salt.
He's using salt, mate. He's taking the salt out and putting it at the end.
Must be it. Must be it.
So, Kerri about this, and we talk about memes.
Yeah, we're like sending memes to each other while her and Neil are like talking about the intricacies of mitochondria and a muscle or something. And we're like, did you see that cat meme I just sent you?
Yeah, although you're obviously picking stuff up. Like, there's obviously some kind of what's that? Is that called osmosis? You know, where someone just seeps in. He's just after to use a technical term there.
By osmosis. I don't think it really.
I'm only joking.
No.
I think whenever these conversations come up, the wall goes up.
It's like Homer Simpson when he's in court, he just puts on the glasses with the fake eyes, you know. Yeah. Okay, so key takeaways then are oil is bad, salt is good, but after.
Cook with butter and put salt on at the end.
Oil is good. You need oil.
Yeah, but not for cooking.
Well, yeah, you can.
Not olive oil is fine. I understand, Kerri. Okay, stop making me look like I don't understand.
I don't think you do. Your summary points aren't right.
Don't cook with like altered oils.
At all.
Stop eating.
With butter and coconut oil, that's all good.
Yeah, I'm not cooking. I tried cooking with coconut oil before. It's just everything tastes like Tropicana or Lilt or something. So I just don't.
Cook with butter. It's good. It's solid. It's structured. It's not going to turn into some weird, wonderful compound on the pan.
And everything tastes nice when you cook it with butter as well. It's like true. It reminds me of like farm or something. Right. So fitness. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, London. One of the positives I saw about London is you get to travel. Like PD's going there as well, so that's. I suppose it's kind of I suppose the good side about it is that you'll get to train with him, you get to ramp up with him at the same time as he is. Like it would have been awkward. Obviously, Kerri, you've mentioned that like Lowlands would have been difficult, like just job wise, it would have made it tricky. But like even just peak wise, at least now you all have the same date in your head, and you can all keep training the same way. It's not like one of you needs to peak in 2 weeks' time, and then the other 4 of you are later or whatever. So that's a positive, and then. Obviously, it makes life easier for Neil as well, I suppose, where he can just focus on one date and that's the focus. And then another nice aspect, I suppose, that you avoid the other Irish teams. So that's nice that there's an extra, you know, it's just nice not to be competing against. It's nice to only be competing against rivals, I suppose, and not be, no friendly fire, I suppose.
Yeah.
Outside of PD and the 80-20 crew, are you in touch with any of the other people that are heading to any of the semi-finals? Like, is there like a like do you talk to say like Yellow Belly or Mickey or Emma or anyone else like that?
We actually had Barry Fitzpatrick, big beautiful Barry, and Sexy Sam up at the weekend they came up to talk to our swim coach, but like that was actually the first time they'd come up, and Barry was saying, look, we need to get a wee session before they go to Lowlands, and then whenever they're done, they said they'll come up and help us prep and do some races against us. And Sam and PD can obviously lock horns in that process as well, but other than that, not really. Like,
you see, after quarters, like I was in touch with McQuaid, who gave us some wee hints and stuff for a couple of issues we were having, and I actually saw her. She obviously is like she's in events quite a bit with Max Thompson and all them, so I'd sort of bump into them the odd time. And she's been helpful, bits and bobs too.
That'd be good though. Like even racing against Yellow Belly when there's nothing at stake. You're not giving up any secrets, or it doesn't matter. Like, do you know what I mean? Because there's always that risk of like. If you were all going to Lowlands, you might be a bit more like, maybe we'll do something after semi-finals.
Yeah. But I think in general, the competition's healthy. Like, like even I know, like if they were to come up, like if we can get them faster, they'll want that, and we'll want that. And likewise, if they can make us better and faster, like I'm sure they'll be happy. I think generally speaking in Ireland, like it is like there is healthy competition because everybody generally knows each other. and there's like a mutual respect in a sense. Whereas like teams on mainland, like I know from having not been involved personally, but having worked with them, it's toxic as anything. And that's not to knock it, but like it's a bit of a different kind of scene over here in a sense where because everybody's so close and knows each other, it's a bit of crack. Like,
yeah, like obviously there's the rule of you have to predominantly train in the affiliate, but with the 100-mile rule, anyone in Ireland could be on any team in Ireland, like pretty much no problem. Like someone in Cork could be on a team in Belfast, and like it's like, well, I'm following the rules, like it's it is very small when you look at it that way. Well, look, we'll finish with a quick fire. So I didn't know how to do a quick fire with a team, so I kind of changed it a bit. So you're going to pick a team member for each of the answers. So it's like, who's the whatever, and you have to fill in the blank. So we'll just try and get some kind of general consensus going, I suppose. Okay, so who's the best? Who's the best at CrossFit? No, who's the best with the auxiliary cable? Who's the best on the playlist?
probably Anna, and then I'll like always jump in, and then she'll say no.
We are not listening to Aqua's greatest hits again, Lewis.
No, that is what Emma puts on.
Anybody want girl?
Here, no. My
Britney
music range
Spears.
is it's basically anything but country
Yeah.
and heavy metal.
I actually got really into country recently by accident because one of my I have a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old, and the 7-month-old wouldn't stop crying, like just couldn't stop him crying, and my wife was at the gym, and I went into Spotify, and you know the way it's like suggestions or whatever, and I meant to click like Disney songs because that would keep my 2-year-old happy, and then I only had one problem to focus on, and I hit country playlist by accident, and I didn't realize until like halfway through the first song, and he stopped crying and didn't cry for 45 minutes. He just sat listening to it. So then I got really into it because I was like, okay, anytime I'm with him, I'm going to put on country music. Then I actually was like, this is actually okay. Like it's pretty shit, but it's kind of okay. So yeah, don't knock it.
I will.
Who's the funniest?
Me.
Definitely not me.
I go Lewis probably.
Yeah, Liz, 100%.
I just like having a laugh.
Yeah. Strongest.
Jim.
Wow, that was a quick consensus. I'm just gonna crop out your part of the video for that 2 seconds, and then just bring it back in. Okay, who's the most marketable member of the team?
Ooh.
Jim?
No.
Jim is weird. Maybe Kerri performance wise.
What do you mean?
Yeah, Kez the performer, like
Most
Yeah,
marketable.
true.
Who would be the most sellable?
Sellable to who?
As like advertising, not like into prostitution or something.
no.
She's gonna sell butter.
A golden cow right now. That's why she's doing butter videos, knocking oil.
You're a very handsome team. Like you're a good looking bunch, and you've got like you kind of unique, like distinctive. What would you call it? You're recognizable. Like say Jim's beard, Lewis kind of has like the mullet, and then he's abandoned his handlebar, but his beard is pretty good as well. But like you're a good looking bunch, so that's kind of why I asked that. Okay, worst taste in music.
You're a podcast host.
Oh, I'm the best looking podcast host on this video. Who's the worst taste in music?
No, Jim's all right. I don't know. Kerri's is questionable sometimes. Like
I like my own music. Like
I've trained with
That's just
Kerri, and like you're trying to get ramped up, and she'd be like, "Have you heard the new Taylor Swift album?"
like James Blunt. Sometimes I would go into the
That's
gym,
not better. That wasn't a worthwhile correction to make.
No.
but yeah,
not that bag of shit. This bag of shit.
Yeah, there's a big generational difference. Like even though there's only a couple of years, I'm like Limp Bizkit, AC/DC, and these guys are like Drake. Like,
bro, you're a secret Drake fan.
No, but that took a bit of like conditioning.
It's because I wouldn't turn it off.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I get slagged a lot for like an early 90s tune sort of thing, and but we're winning.
I judge you quite harshly for saying Limp Bizkit there. I'll be honest. Like,
what?
That was a low point of the interview.
I actually thought it was like Limp Bizkit.
Although Jim,
I don't even know who you're
I've
talking
never heard of
about.
that.
Jim near
Limp
knows.
Bizkit. You know what's the guy's name? Fred Durst. Remember, there's loads. He was like one of the original. Like rumor has it, you know, like these like urban legends about this guy.
I know who Limp
He's
Bizkit
trying to be. He's trying to be cool. He knows all the characters and all the people.
I didn't say I don't know who they are. I just think they're shit.
I know that really.
He was the guy. Remember? Oh, what age are you, Emma? You surely remember the hats. Remember those hats?
Emma's
And
only
they
8.
had, they didn't have the hole, on the baseball cap, but it wasn't adjustable. It was like it was just a small, medium, or large, and there was no like plastic bit on the back or Velcro on the back. There was no hole, and I had a little baseball.
Yeah, it was the Yankees.
Yeah,
It?
he was like, "Hey, everyone, these are cool to wear backwards," and then everyone started doing it.
Like a song that he. So I just know.
Rolling,
yeah.
Oh, we sang that one night.
Rolling on a river.
One day.
No, not the Tina Turner.
Oh, yes.
What else did they sing? Jim, you'd probably have more than me. That's the only one that comes to mind for me.
Myself down here. So,
did he die in a helicopter crash or something? Or was that one of the myths about him?
That must be a myth. Surely he's still hanging about.
And wasn't he? He was in the news during COVID. I think he was in the news because did he start some conspiracy theory about it or something? Or there was definitely something. He like vanished and nobody talked about it. Oh, didn't he self-fund a movie? And there's some really good story about him. Oh man, I need to look it up. And he like self-funded a movie, and what's your man's name? John Travolta is in it, and John Travolta plays like a stalker super fan. I'm pretty sure it's Fred Durst either directed it or like paid for it. Right. And it basically just sounds, from the reviews I read, John Travolta just has a breakdown on camera for like an hour. Like it's awful. And then it was like there was all this talk about it, and I think John Travolta shaved his head for it and everything. Yeah, I don't know. I'll need to look it up. Okay, quick fire. This is going well. Worst fashion sense. Oh wow, that was quick, Kerri. That's
okay. I was expecting that to be me.
Unique fashion sense, Pete.
You wear hybrid gear though, Jim. So that's you're
good. Correct.
Unique, unique.
Jim technically has the worst fashion sense then.
So because he doesn't dress himself.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think we've covered everything from coaching to butter and Fred Durst's directorial debut. That was a remarkable tangents. Look, it's been great getting to chat to you and getting to know you, and I look forward to seeing you in London. And it's just remarkable, like to miss out so early last year. I really, really hope you get your chance this year and do it in style as well in front of a crowd with no doubt some visitors from 80/20 as well. So yeah, best of luck with the run-in, and hopefully we'll chat to you in London at some point as well.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,